Ben ritrovati giovedì mattina sul floor del New York Stock Exchange. Da questo momento siamo davvero in moderato rialzo, manca in realtà una direzione ben precisa, tanti dati economici da digerire sia qui che in Europa quanto in Cina e tante ancora le preoccupazioni legate all'Europa. Ne parliamo con la mia ospite, come vedete qui sul floor. Come ogni giovedì, che è Doreen Mogavero, che è fondatrice, presidente e amministratore delegato del floor broker Mogavero Lee Co. Doreen, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, as always.
So Doreen, we are a little bit up this morning, but of course the day is long. There is no real reason why we should cheering. The amount of bad news lately has been overwhelming. Where are we heading?
Where are we heading? Well, I mean, if you look at the rally that we had yesterday afternoon, I mean, that was quite startling to me. It has been deemed by some traders this morning as a spectacular rally. Well, I suppose it was, but I mean, I don't really know what the genesis of the whole thing was. I mean, why? I don't know. The news didn't get any better as the day progressed. So I think, listen, I think that we're at a spot now in all of the technical levels. I think that people probably are feeling, if we don't break down any further, we're ready to go back up again. And I think so to that point, a lot of people, I think we'll call them bottom fishers for lack of a better terminology. But I think that's what a lot of people are doing, looking for the bottom and hoping they can get it. You can get in, you can always get out again if it's wrong.
Even though there is no real catalyst ahead, I mean, if the situation in Europe gets worse, if really Greece will go out, will decide to exit the euro, and if there is no more better indication from the economy, what's the real catalyst for the market really to sustain a rally?
I don't think there is one at this particular moment. I mean, I think yesterday's move down, I think you saw a lot of people getting out of equities and into treasuries, again looking for a safe haven. I mean, to me, we're still not getting paid enough money to take the risk of any sovereign debt anywhere. U.S. is as safe as it gets, there's no question. But still, it's not much of an incentive, I don't think. Then you're going to have days like today where people are still looking for yield and still hoping to, buy dividends cheap. Dividend stocks cheap and very good quality companies and think that we've got a turnaround situation. I think it's too early for that. I think we have a serious economic condition still remaining in this country. Our jobless numbers this morning were non-eventful, really. They're just the same as they have been. There's been no significant move in the job market in the United States or the housing market, quite frankly, to make me think that anything is really changing here, or at least not changing fast enough to make a difference. And piggyback that on top of a very obviously deteriorating European situation. I mean, there were articles this morning about the recession in England, in Britain. That's very difficult, going to be very difficult for us to handle all of this at one time.
And China too. I mean, China is really, the eventuality of a hard landing seems to be kind of like not too far.
Yeah, I think so, but I don't worry so much about China as I do. I think there are lots of other factors that the Chinese government will have going in their favor. They own a lot of things. Still, what we would think is spectacular growth is moderate to them, so they'll still go forward. I think they're slightly different just because of sheer numbers, and they position themselves, quite frankly, from all that I've read, pretty good. I mean, they're in pretty good shape to weather any kind of bad storm.
So now let's talk about the confidence in this market. Of course, we've been talking about Facebook for so long, Doreen, until, the IPO came. It was a huge disappointment, and a disappointment so big that now people are really scared that retail investors will not come back to the market. And maybe for the next IPO, they probably will be more cautious to participate.
Well, I think that a lot of things will probably change between now and the next IPO of any size that even remotely looks like Facebook. I think this was a huge wake-up call on many different levels, and I think those things will be addressed. I think they're going to be addressed very quickly by everyone involved as well as by regulators. I think one thing everybody knows for sure is that we can't sit on the changes that need to be made for another 2 years. So I think that will make a difference going forward. The confidence issue, this has been a series of events over 3 or 4 years now that have disappointed retail investors. They've not been in the market up to date. This was the opportunity to get them back in. It didn't happen. They're in, and now they're sorry they're in. Ultimately, if the price of that stock can get up and past the IPO price, they may not feel so bad, but as long as it's trading below there, I think it's an issue. If ultimately that can be resolved, and retail investors didn't buy Facebook because they wanted to make money in a day. Maybe some did, but I think the bulk of the retail investors were investors. They weren't flippers, they weren't traders, they were investors. And I don't think that their expectation was that they would make huge sums of money in 24 hours. I also don't think their expectation was that they'd lose huge sums of money in 24 hours. So,
And also, sorry if I interrupt, but if a lot of retail investors that maybe they were even new to the stock market, they decided to buy Facebook, they managed to get some Facebook shares, and then they had the big confusion on the first day of trading, didn't know anything was going on until 6 p.m., something that probably the retail will be scared of, and really they will just, prefer something else.
people are always afraid of what they don't understand. And I can't speak about the NASDAQ problem and the NASDAQ world. I'm not in it. This is my world here on the New York Stock Exchange. I will tell you from that perspective. We do trade NASDAQ stocks occasionally, and I can kind of figure out the opening, and, in great part, they're fairly easy to trade, but there's not a problem in general. But on the New York Stock Exchange, these sort of delays and losing order, this is kind of foreign to us. So we really don't know how to react to when things like that happen, because our system is so different here. We have a human being. Now, we've been discounting the value of a human being for a long time, but it always manages when things get difficult. It's the human being that is the person that really has the ability to make that quick judgment call and to change things and really to mitigate it. Anybody can do everything when it's easy. Easy is easy. I mean, we can all do it. But the real measure of how well a system works or how well a process works is how quickly does it recover from a bad situation. Bad situations happen to everyone. The question is how quickly rather, does it recover? And I think that the human system recovers better, mitigates that better.
As more backups, at least.
Yes, and and I don't mean that from just a domestic NYSE NASDAQ situation. Globally, we are a unique model. Globally, most exchanges have gone to completely electronic markets. New York Stock Exchange has maintained that there is a value. We've proven time and time again, from the flash crash to the way that we do handle the situations that we get, that human beings do make a difference. And I think to that extent, it's a good model.
And of course, it's been a chatter. We cannot ignore it. Nothing has been confirmed. Actually, in part, has been denied. Facebook apparently is interested to switch, but isn't it too late?
Oh, listen. I think that everybody involved in this IPO, including Facebook, is going to look at the entire process, from selection of listing venue to bankers to technology to everything. Everyone is going to look at everything, and I'm sure people that weren't even involved are re-looking at their processes to make sure that they would not have made the same mistakes. Because I think this has obviously been a great embarrassment for those that were involved, and I think that those that were not involved are going, there for the grace of God go I, and you know what? Let me make sure this never happens to me. So I think everybody's re-looking at everything. I think it's natural for people to say, oh, they're going to run to the New York. I'm sure that, listen, I'm sure we'd love to have them. Don't get me wrong. But I'm sure that there's not been any official pitch. I don't think it would be like the New York Stock Exchange to do that. I would be surprised.
Anyway, from this, we can just say it was a big teaching experience, and probably it will make the exchange system better.
Well, let's just hope that, like any smart person would, you learn from your mistakes, I think that's really all you can say about it.
Great. Thank you very much, Doreen, for being with us.
Okay, thank you.
E grazie a voi per l'attenzione. A domani.